Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to look at the story of humanity's first murderer. The earth was young and so were its people. Humanity was just getting started and everything was still new. The world had not yet seen hate or violence, or at least not on record. That would soon change, however, because the world's first murder was about to take place. Let's start in the beginning when God made the first man, Adam. At the time, Adam lived in a place called Eden, a perfect location where there was no sickness, pain, sorrow, or death. All that Adam needed was provided for him. He could eat from any of the trees in the garden as much as he wanted. Adam lived a carefree life until one day when he met a woman. God had just made her from one of Adam's ribs, and the two quickly fell in love and were married. They lived together in peace until one day they decided to disobey God, an act which caused them to be kicked out of Eden and put under a death sentence. No longer would they live carefree lives. From now on, life would be full of suffering, pain, and hard work. Adam would have to work the soil, and his wife would face pain in childbirth. And most importantly, both of them would eventually die. This is where the world began to go downhill. This is when evil entered the picture. After leaving Eden, Adam and Eve set up camp somewhere nearby. There, the two would raise their first children, two boys named Cain and Abel. They were blessed to have two healthy and strong sons who appeared to be everything that they could have hoped for as they watched their boys grow up. Adam and Eve thought about how they would carry on their family bloodline. They knew that one of their sons would eventually marry and have children of their own. It was important that they each had a son and a daughter so that the human race would continue. As the boys got older, they each developed unique interests. Cain took up farming and spent his days planting and harvesting crops. Abel liked to tend to the family flock of sheep. Even though they did different things, they were both happy and seemed to get along well. For a while, life was good. One day, Adam and Eve noticed that their boys had grown up quite a bit, and it was time for them to give God an offering. Each boy prepared a gift. Cain brought some of his crops and Abel brought the best parts of his flock. He knew that God loved these types of gifts. So even though it hurt, he chose to sacrifice his favorite sheep. When God saw Abel and his offering, he was pleased. A fire from heaven fell and burned up the offering. It was a sign of God's approval. Abel bowed down in worship, thankful that God had accepted his gift. Cain, on the other hand, was very angry and jealous. Why did God accept Abel's offering but not his? He didn't understand. Maybe God just liked the gift Abel brought. Well, that wouldn't happen again. Cain was determined to win God's favor the next time. A few days later, it was time for another offering. Again, Abel brought his gift, and again, Cain felt angry and jealous. Once more, God accepted Abel's offering, but rejected Cain's. Cain was furious. How could his brother do this to him? How could Abel keep winning God's favor over and over? Was it because Abel always sacrificed the best parts of the flock? Well, that would change. This time, Cain waited until Abel went out into the field with his flock. Then he went over to his brother and killed him. Now Abel was dead, and all because of Cain. He couldn't believe what he had done. Sure, Abel had won God's favor many times before, but that didn't mean he deserved to die. What kind of monster had he become? Cain ran away, hoping to escape God's wrath, but God found him and asked where Abel was. Cain lied and said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" He thought that God would believe him if he pretended to be confused, but God knew exactly what had happened. He knew that Cain had killed his brother. So what should be done? This was the first murder, the first time that one human had killed another. There had never been a punishment for murder before, and God didn't know exactly what to do. On one hand, Cain had taken innocent life. He had murdered his own brother. On the other hand, Cain was still a member of his family. He was the first human to ever commit murder. If he was punished too harshly, other humans might lose faith in God. So what should it be? Well, God decided to curse Cain, saying, "You are cursed. You will wander over the earth as a restless wanderer. Whenever anyone finds you, they will kill you." Now, Adam and Eve's first thought was to protect their surviving son. They had already lost one son. They weren't going to lose the other. But there was a problem. How could they protect him? Humans hadn't yet developed cities, houses, or even weapons. If Cain ran away, there was nothing that could be done to stop him from wandering the earth. God knew this, so he gave Cain a special mark, a sign for everyone else to see, which would prevent anyone from killing him. And that's why Cain wasn't allowed to be killed when he wandered the earth. Everyone knew that he was marked by God, and they were forbidden to kill him. So that's what happened to the world's first murderer. He was cursed to walk the earth for the rest of his life, never finding peace. Now, you might think that this is a sad ending, and it is. But think about how much worse it would have been if he hadn't been punished at all. Just imagine if someone could kill someone else and then just walk away with no punishment. That would be scary. Thankfully, God made sure that Cain was punished. And it showed the world that murder would never go without consequences. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you want to watch more, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.